Coming to you live from the Now Media Newsroom.
Your leader and fellow countryman, Keir Starmer, is there at COP30, and he's got a speech that you just want to hear. Let's go, Keir. Let's hear it.
To my mind, this is a win-win. The greater our collective ambition, the more progress we make in tackling the climate crisis and the greater opportunities that we create. For example, just for UK businesses, providing goods and services for global net zero transition could be worth £1 trillion by 2030. So look, my message is that the UK is all in, because we know you don't protect jobs and communities by sticking with the status quo. You don't meet a challenge like climate change by standing still. You do it by embracing change, embracing the opportunities, and doing it together. This iconic setting eloquently makes that point. The Amazon rainforest helps to regulate the climate for every person on Earth, and it reminds us that this is a truly collective endeavour. So, as His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales said just a moment ago, let's be inspired by this setting and let's rise to meet this moment together. Thank you very much.
So we're all in. Let's protect the Amazon, and yet there's $125 billion US dollar fund for trees, for literally for the Amazon. And Keir Starmer says we're not giving a single penny to that. We're not going to. And the reason, he said, is because our economy is garbage, and we don't have any money. So I mean, again, talking about politicians that contradict themselves, like in different sentences, consecutive sentences. We're in a really difficult time. Everybody acknowledges that. Even Melanie Jolie has figured that one out, that we're in a really strange time in history, and it's very difficult. And these are the leaders that we have, you know. We need like Winston Churchill's in every capital city of the world, and instead we've got Keir Starmer, you know.
What I can't figure out, though, is if they're worried about their carbon footprint all the time, have they not heard of Zoom? Why don't they just Zoom and they're just standing on the stage? Why do they need to all fly there in private jets, clog up the runway?
Completely, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you could Zoom. Like you and I, you're in Ottawa. I didn't fly you out every day so that we could sit and talk. I mean, it seems like pretty seamless, no?
Exactly, and everybody does it nowadays. And their dreaded enemy, whom they despise, Elon Musk, always does that. He always phones in. He doesn't fly around the world. He always phones into his conferences.
But, you know, they go. And Melanie Jolie knows how to rack up a food bill like none other. You know, Anita Danza and Mark Carney's going to speak, because this is their glory. This is glorious for them. Because Mark Carney...
I can't believe they're still doing this. I can't believe they're still doing it. If you think this champagne at Champagne's party was over the top and a bit luxurious, they're going to be having... Imagine the canapes, just for a minute. Just imagine. And they've been doing this now for what seems decades. They just do this again and again and again. And then the head of the UN comes and says, everybody's evil, you're all horrible. And then the Chinese come up and say, like the most important thing, I would say, in this whole conference, the Chinese send some like minion, a vice premier to come. And he says, oh yeah, we're not going to lead. Rich countries need to lead on emissions reductions. See you later.
But here, hey, wait a second, though. Wait a second, right there. Because wasn't it just Mark Carney when he was in Southeast Asia there, he made that speech that Canada and China are lead the world in climate change, that's what they have in common. That's what So don't be slagging on China, because, like, according to Mark Carney...
Canada and China, yeah, because they make the wind turbines and we buy them. That's how it works.
Yeah. It's pretty obvious. Forgot to mention the coal. But hey... Prince William and other world leaders gather in Brazil there. So Prince William, of course, along with all global dignitaries, have convened at COP30. I doubt if Trump shows up there, unless he's just going to do one of his scathing speeches again. But I doubt if maybe he'll.
No, he's not due to be there now.
On climate change, and the UN Secretary General, he's going to be Antonio Guterres, accusing world leaders of moral failure over carbon emissions. He loves to virtue signal, that guy. The most important country in the world when it comes to emissions, China, sent only a vice premier. Why, he should just read Mark Carney's notes, the speech there. China leads in climate change. Like, I don't know what Antonio Guterres is saying. It doesn't make sense, does it? Does it make sense to you?
It makes sense when you think about what their personal interests are in their lives and what they stand to gain from it. I mean, Guterres has been accused of being the worst Secretary General in the history of the United Nations. And when he says things like this, you can believe it, you know? You can see why somebody would make that accusation. Because all he does is berate countries for things that they, in many cases, aren't even responsible for. Like, it's the Western countries, the developed countries, that are doing most of the heavy lifting on climate change or carbon emissions. And he just constantly wags his finger at them while he lets China off the hook, while China's responsible basically almost single-handedly for what the dire straits that we're in.
If anybody's really worried about the climate, they should at least listen to what Elon Musk has to say, because he does have solutions. Then we're going back. I think Iain put this in here. China, Jensen Huang, that China's going to win the AI race. But according to Evan Solomon, Canada's going to win that race because we lead in that area. But the reason...
But look what he says. Like,
the reason it's going to win, you ready for this? Thanks to lower energy and looser regulations. Well, that's happening in the U.S. now. They're loosening regulations and fast-tracking energy. But you need a lot of it, because that's one thing. Like, if you want to do a math equation, energy plus investment will lead to AI. Canada lacks in both of those. Willingness to put it has energy, but it won't put it into play, plus investment. Those two things are missing. As it would say, plus this, right?
There is a certain, like, build it and they will come aspect to it as well. And yeah, we do have a lot of energy in this country, but a lot of it's energy potential, isn't it? It's not like there's a load of slack. It's not like there's a load of spare capacity
beneath your feet.
You know, in a place like BC, that had been an energy deficit for a couple of years and having to borrow energy off the Americans and off Alberta even. So, you know, it's like, the truth is there's no plan in this country to, like, supercharge energy production the way that the Chinese are doing. And I think that's what Huang is getting at. I mean, the Americans are trying, aren't they? But even then it's, you know, you're up against China here. You're up against the Communist Party of China. Like, they click their fingers and just a power station is built in a very short period of time. Like, that's who you have to be going up against.
But if we look at even what's happening in the U.S. right now, autonomous is starting to roll out with, you know, like Waymo's doing it. So is Tesla now. But they got to go state by state to get approval. Imagine that you're driving your car, and you say you're driving your car, and you cross the state line, just like, oh no, your car's not approved for this state. You know what I mean? Like, they need to start doing federal regulations in the U.S. and in Canada. Like, I think we're a version or two behind even in the Tesla rollouts, like in versions, because, you know, like, Canada drags its heels on even for leading in AI. It's a far cry from even approving AI, never mind leading in AI.
But it reminds me again, I have to quote Mark Carney once again, where he said, aluminum is basically two things. It's energy plus bauxite. It's like, yeah, you've got it. You're so close to getting it, mate. You're so close to getting it. Bauxite is something that you can just, you know, that's easily obtained. The energy bit, that's the hard thing. And that's true also of AI. And it looks like it's going to be true of many other industries that are going to decide the 21st century. It's all about energy. And though he said about Canada being an energy superpower, you know, where's the kind of war effort? Where's the nationwide struggle to get energy from everywhere that we can find it? I mean, I'm not seeing that.
So they said it was all about climate, right? The climate emergency, and that's why you got to drive an EV. Is it about climate or is it about taxation? Because now they're putting together a plan. In England there, the electric EV drivers will be hit with a new pay-per-mile tax in the budget. The Telegraph, that's from the Telegraph, that they're going to be charged 3 pence per mile on top of other road taxes. I thought it was just about saving the planet. Now all of a sudden it's just about how do you tax people, because if more people are driving EVs, then that loses all the gas tax money. Which is it?
But what a horrible, horrible tax that is. You got to pay tax to move your vehicle. It's like there's a little clock. It's like driving a taxi. So your car becomes a taxi, basically.
Remember, your vote is so important, and these clowns are just figuring out new ways to tax you. Again, in Canada, listen to these words and listen to them very closely. Carbon capture is a tax that's going to come in. It's going to give the ability for private companies to tax our energy. What a boon for companies like Brookfield. Go look at Brookfield's website. Go just do a search, Brookfield, and then do carbon capture, and then look at all the investment they've made into carbon capture, laying the groundwork for the day that it would come when it was mandatory for companies to buy carbon credits. What a boom, eh? Just like you're there at the right place at the right time for the new buzzword, carbon capture. And then here's the guy that got religion, the guy that led the climate hysteria, Bill Gates. Let's listen to what Bill Gates has to say.
Are you the right messenger on this? Because you fly private planes a lot and you're creating a lot of greenhouse gases yourself.
Yeah, I probably have one of the highest greenhouse gas footprints of anyone on the planet. You know, my
kind of
personal flying alone is gigantic.
Lightning Rod says,
funny, isn't he?
Lightning Rod says I should buy Brookfield stocks. You go ahead. According to Mark Carney, though, and the media, buying Brookfield stocks, the largest tax dodger in Canada, is actually good for Canadians, because if you own the stocks, the CPP owns some of that stock. So that's a good reason to dodge taxes. Awesome. Whatever you come up with excuses, there you go. Living life large. You can't even make this stuff up. Here's your friend Ursula von der Leyen told a crowd of protesters they should be grateful for being free in the UA, unlike in Russia where you can get arrested for protesting. Well, at the exact same moment they arrested a protester. Look, you just play this thing. You can't even make this stuff up.
Thank you very much for receiving me. And first of all, to those who scream and yell here so loud, they can be happy that they are in a free country like Finland, where the free speech is a right, where they have not any restrictions. If they would be in Moscow, they would be in jail in 2 minutes. Thank God we have a democracy. Thank God we have free speech. We can...
And they celebrate. The crowd are like, yeah, free speech.
Meanwhile, the guy's getting carted off by the police. Maybe he was just going to read him a pamphlet. Maybe he was just going to read him a pamphlet that he hadn't read yet. You know what I mean?
Take him to a re-education camp, perhaps.
Maybe he was going to take him in the back there so he could meet with Ursula in person, so he could scream right at her, right in person. That's what I mean. It's almost like, you know, if it wasn't so painful for so many people, it'd be comical. Nancy Pelosi, I still remember her sitting there during COVID telling people, what are they complaining about? You know, like you're in your home, you know, like what she's, you know, like for herself. She was sitting at her kitchen. She had this massive counter, must have been a 20-foot counter. And behind her was a wall of fridges. It looked like there was 20 feet of fridge doors behind her. And she said all she does, you know, like she's locked in her house, which she wasn't, locked in her house, is she just, you know, reaches into the ice cream drawer. She pulled it open, and there was probably 20 flavors of Ben & Jerry's there. And she said she just selects an ice cream and then eats that ice cream, and then she feels better. And then you'd have to think many Americans and Canadians are sitting there thinking, I don't think I have that. I don't have that fridge. I don't have that much ice cream. I don't have any money.
And a lot of them will be thinking, I chose the wrong line of work. I should have been a demagogue like her. Then I would have a giant fridge.
She's amassed over $500 million. She's out-traded the S&P. She's just been amazing. She's been one of the best stock traders out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of her stuff was
And she's
just
still walking around.
amazing
just about.
timing. Amazing timing, too. I'm sure Martha Stewart would like to see some justice there. Remember, Martha Stewart got thrown in the hoosecow for a couple of insider trades that I think it was like 20 grand or something like that. But here's Nancy Pelosi. I think she was doing puts and calls days before, the government approved massive contracts for Microsoft and Tesla and stuff like that. Just fortuitous, right?
And this video, or a lot of this video is about just San Francisco. And it's so strange because she included in the video clips from back when San Francisco was a nice place. And I just found it, just the goal of this woman, she's been squatting there in San Francisco for 40 odd years, representing the people of San Francisco. The easiest possible way to measure whether she was a success or not is, what was San Francisco like then and what's it like now? And I would argue, and I think many other people would also argue, that it's considerably worse now than it was when she first started in politics. So what has she done for the people of San Francisco? What has she done for that place? Which, like, a place that the last time I went to that place, I had to leave early with my wife because she was physically afraid. She was too scared to be there. And she's, not a softie by any means, but she didn't want to be there. She's like, we have to get out of this place. And then we've got Nancy Pelosi, talk about how great it's been to represent San Francisco.
I wasn't going to play this, but we'll play a small clip of this. This is Mandami. He won the New York mayor race. I remember promising grocery stores and free transit and all this stuff. And the first video he puts out is pitching for send me money. Send me money. Send me money so that I can hire people, the right people, to run New York City.
So weird, isn't it?
Let's not play it. It's got music in it anyway. So anyway, you can go watch it. Just it's a pitch for cash money. So if you feel great, send some money. Okay? Send money.
But that's also another example of people doing really hard jobs. They're going to look at this guy's win in New York and just say, I'm doing the wrong job. I should do that. He's got absolutely no experience. He's never done anything. He's never done anything with his life. Nothing at all. And now he's the mayor of the world's most important city. People will be, and he's going to be unimaginably rich by the time he's done with his career. People are going to be looking at that saying, what am I doing? I'm wasting my time.
We got our last clip here. You can caption. Let's see if anybody can come up with some captions for this photo here.
Betrayal.
Canada at this moment in time.
Always fresh, though.
Always
At
fresh.
least it's, there's something good about it.
Yeah, people are going to make a lot of money in this next little while here to be lawyers in Canada, especially in BC.
When have they not made a lot of money?
In BC, as all these, not a good time to be a property owner in BC, I guess. But hey.
But EB said that it's all fine. And all the banks are saying it's, or none of the banks have yet complained. So if EB says that, I guess that must be true.
I'm sure EB's trying to board up his office before they can start putting the papers in there to sue him, the government, and everybody else they can get at.
It's going to if more comes out and there are other places that are under, a claim, people are going to really start to freak out, aren't they? And you can't help but think that the next election, whenever that comes, will be at least in part based on this issue.
Can we go back to the first image, though? Let's close out with that first image there of the champagne celebration, because you know what? It is a time for a celebration for some, I guess. Champagne.
There's a load of there's even more pictures on Tinternet of this. It's quite funny.
To all you Canadians out there just looking into the meat counter like it was jewelry, just look at this picture and you'll feel much better.
Champagne looks like he feels better.
He's doing well. Some of the stories we've highlighted in the last little while about, the college professor that's lived off of the immigrants, $650,000 salary, $473,000 for the lady that heads up Canada's, what is that, aliens, looking for aliens or whatever.
Yeah.
$473,000 for administering the dental care program. That's not for the cost of the benefits. And on. And $109 million to China for helping them with, what was it?
Human rights, gender inequality.
And climate. Then they're, according to Antonio, he's misinformed because we gave them money, $109 million to fix their climate change. And we also, Mark Carney says that Canada and China lead in climate change. So I don't know what Antonio's going on about.
Carney also said China is the biggest threat facing Canada, and then all of a sudden wouldn't say a bad word about the good old communists in Beijing.
And that's our story. I mean, that's our stories for today. What's happening tomorrow? You got that figured out yet? Are we going to go late or?
Yeah, I think we're going to be a little bit later. Half an hour or maybe an hour. Let's see. But yeah, a little bit later. So
I think we'll probably
if you can hold on, if you can wait.
Start a little bit later tomorrow for our Friday. We're on every morning at 9 a.m. We do this every morning, every weekday morning, Iain and I. We're a local independent news outlet. Iain's out there in the nation's capital trying to get into the parliamentary gallery. Good luck with that. We're trying to get in there so that we can ask a question. But somehow the New York Times got in there, and before Canadian journalists can get in there. That's weird, eh?
Their journalist is called Iain as well. Maybe I'll just pretend to be him.
Show up, see what happens.
I've still got my British press card lying around somewhere. Maybe I'll just go and pretend.
Maybe you'll get in as the Daily Mail in England. Right, get in as the Daily Mail. Probably have more chance than us.
Yeah.
That's our show for this morning. Like and share. We'd appreciate that. Help us get it out there. Bill C18 has taken away our Facebook and Meta audience, and we're trying to build this up. We're starting to see some good results here. We're starting to see about 5,000-10,000 views on these shows. So I think the other day we had 40,000 views on the other day on the show. So help us get it out to more people. Help people see the truth. Yeah, again, you won't see this on CBC. A lot of the stories we cover are not covered by CBC for some strange, odd reason. But,
and they never will be.
Thank you for watching Now Media. See you tomorrow.
We don't just report the news. We live here too. We're your neighbors, bringing you stories that matter to all of us. No government funding, no outside influence.